Well, hello everybody. My name is Joel Monaco. It's a little picture of me down there in the corner. Welcome to Regents Chemistry. Our first unit of study this year is called Boot Camp. It's to get you back in the brain frame of science, chemistry, high school, doing class. Okay. This first unit is going to focus on bringing back some of those skills many of us already have from previous science classes. So things like how to conduct yourself in the lab, measurement techniques, percent error, a calculation, matter, what it is and how it changes and how you can separate it, and then density of matter and how it relates back to what the atoms and stuff are doing. Um, every unit of study in my chemistry class is going to start off with some essential questions, overarching themes, and every unit is going to have homework assignments like what you're listening and watching right now. This boot camp's themes are how do you measure matter and how do you classify and separate it. So pretty simple questions, but they have really, really big answers. Okay, it's kind of what we try and do with those essential questions. So first thing you need to know how to do is how we do chemistry in my class. Okay, this is a little bit different. It's geared towards getting you college and career ready. A lot of your professors someday will require you to do podcasts, or heck, maybe you might even take an online course. So that's how and why I focus my classroom the way I do. So the first thing you need to learn how to do is do a unit of study. The number and types of assignments that we will do are consistent throughout the year. I have my entire year planned out, and it's consistent. So you got to get familiar with what I'm expecting of you in order to be successful, and everybody can be successful in my class if you work hard, pay attention, and give your studies due diligence. You will be just fine. You need to learn how to do homework, and doing homework in my class is watching this podcast, taking your notes, and then completing a Google Classroom assignment that's related to it to demonstrate your comprehension and the fact that you paid attention. Kind of rhymed. Got some bars. You need to learn how to do practice pages related to those homework lectures that you watched independently. Okay? After high school, everybody's going to expect that you watch, learn, do on your own. This is your first taste of it. I'm not expecting you to get everything right independently, but I'm expecting you to be able to try it. And when you come to class, having tried and struggled perhaps, you and I can have a discourse about what it is that you got stuck on. Mr. What do I do? Is a beginning of a conversation. If you have already started paying attention to those lectures independently, we can actually get you somewhere. And that's going to be a very valuable lesson for your future. You need to learn how to do a POGIL activity, which is more like a small group activity. I call them POGILs. You'll get familiar with them. They're types of packets that we do in class with models. Chemistry labs. Many have done labs in the past. Mine are a little bit different. How you write your conclusions and how you even get into the lab in the first place are different than many of your experiences in high school science so far. Mine are more like college level science, just getting ready. Not the actual lab part, but the pre-lab stuff, post-lab stuff, geared towards getting you ready to go on to bigger, better things. You need to learn how to get into this system called Castle Learning, to do online quizzes that I'll create for you each unit, and to create your own online quizzes, okay? It's one thing to do all the work your teacher assigns you. It's another thing to go above and beyond and begin to learn unto yourself, okay? Internalize it. Make your own quizzes, start to use the system. It's going to advance you beyond your wildest dreams. So for this specific unit, every unit's going to have learning objectives. For this specific unit, I need you to tell the difference between safe and unsafe lab behaviors, which is pretty simple review. I need you to tell the difference between accuracy and precision in a measurement. There is a homework lecture on that. Understand proper measuring techniques, length, mass, and volume. I'm specifically talking here about estimating the last digit that our instruments don't necessarily tell us. Determining percent error of a measurement is a very simple calculation, but it's a way that we know we're getting an answer that's acceptable. Okay. My answer is 5. Yeah, but should it have been 5? Well, it should have been 5.5. Well, was 5 close enough? The percent error will tell you if you were close enough. And very important in the science lab, in chemistry specifically. You'll learn to classify types of matter as element, compound, or mixture based upon what we call particle diagrams. And you'll learn how to draw those types of particle diagrams as well. A particle diagram is just a model of matter that we cannot see at the atomic level. We infer what's going on there, and we draw particle diagrams to show that. You're going to learn the difference between physical and chemical properties and physical and chemical changes. Honestly, you already know these. We're just going to set them in stone so we can refer back to them in the future and say, hey, was this a chemical change or a physical change? What does that really mean for matter? You're going to identify some simple techniques that can be used to separate mixtures of matter. Things like, well, how do I get the salt away from the sand? Very simple question, but you need to be familiar with the techniques nowadays. You might have an answer, but a lot of what we're going to do this year is not anything more than just finalizing your answer in a very scientific way. You had the right answer, but you need to formalize it and proceduralize it so somebody else, another scientist somewhere, could do it, because that's what you're going to be expected to do in science after high school. Calculations of volume and density are the kind of capstone of this unit, and you're going to have to take what that density means and use it to predict if objects will float or sink when placed in water based upon their density. Density is a simple calculation, but what it means for matter, the particle diagrams of that matter, is so much bigger. So we like to start each unit with the overarching themes, the learning objectives, and then what the assignments for this unit are. I made this checklist so you can follow it, and I really do intend you to follow it one step at a time. This is your procedure for the entire unit on boot camp. Start at homework 1, move to 2, then do your vocab quiz, etc., etc., etc. This is your roadmap to success. Listen, high school chemistry life can be challenging enough as it is. You don't need a teacher saying, oh, whatever, to make anything worse for you. Here it is. If you will do this, you will be successful. If you won't do this, you're going to have a very difficult time in my class keeping track of where you are, where everybody else is, where you need to be successful. So that being said, that's all, folks. This is your first little lecture on what I expect in each unit of study. And thanks for watching. Adios.